All right, so here we're going to do a description and tape job with the closed basket weave that we do in class. I'll do it step by step, how you would learn in class and the things that we need to consider. So first thing when we're doing a tape job, consider tape. That's the number one thing. What type of tape am I going to use? After that, then it becomes body position. Along with the body position, yeah, we'll talk about skin preparation later, but just real quickly, in a perfect world, it'd be nice if the leg is clean shaven, because the tape will adhere a lot better to the skin than a hairy leg. All right. So then after that, body position, tape, body position. Then we can start our tape job. Okay. So because it's my model right now, I'm not going to spray, but this will be the next thing. So spray with some tough skin, spray on the medial side, anterior, posterior, lateral side. And then the next thing we're going to do is apply some heel and lace pads. One goes down around the Achilles, the other one goes on top of the foot or anterior part of the foot where your tendons are, the lace area, hence the name, kind of heel and lace pads. Then we want to go ahead and put on a nice thin layer of pre-wrap. And I start medially into the arch, and all I do is just continue to spiral my way on up from distal, working my way proximal. And really this is just to kind of hold those heel and lace pads in place. If I did have the athlete that was clean shaven, I'd stop right here with the pre-wrap. I'm going to be nice with my model here, super duper quick, and I'm going to go ahead and come up to where the where the calf muscle starts to taper down, and I'm just going to go ahead and again a thin layer of pre-wrap up the top here, tear it off. I'm actually going to do this tape job with this tape, so maybe you can see the edges of the tape. All right, so ready? Here we go. First things first, anchors. So I do two up here. I'm putting them on medial to lateral. Medial is on the midline of the body. And then I do my other anchor here in the middle of the arch, medial, bring it around. So I've created my boundaries. I don't want any tape to go beyond my boundaries. So now the next set of tape or strips of tape, here I'm going to do this as number 1, number 2, and number 3 is we're going to go ahead and do a series of stirrups and spurs. Okay, so the first one I'm going to do here, so you see that 1, 2, 3. This is my first stirrup, securing on the medial side, bringing it around to the lateral side. And we'll take a picture of that here, or actually show the video here in just a second if you want to come around, just so you see. Okay, so we're going to follow this pattern. Now we're going to go back to the medial side, and we're going to put on a spur. So the first one was a stirrup, second one was a spur. So look, I'm going to do this just in order in terms of numbers. This is number then 4, and this is number 5. Okay. Now we follow this pattern. We're going to go ahead and do another stirrup. I overlap. If you can see the tape underneath, overlap just means overlapping the previous strip of tape half the distance. If you notice that, same thing all the way around. I'm going to come over on the other side, on the lateral side, same thing. Okay. If you want to take here, actually let me do the second spur. Okay. So that's going to be where 4, 5. This is going to be 6 and 7. Number 6 and number 7. Okay. And then I've got to do another one. So that's another stirrup, and my head got in the way there. Third spur. So 6 and 7. This is going to be 8, and this one's going to be 9. Okay, so I'm up to 9 strips of tape. My next strips of tape are going to be heel locks. And actually, you know what? I'm going to do this with a different color just so maybe you can see the difference. So this one I'm going to use as gray tape. This is a heel lock. We're going to go around the Achilles right here, hook the heel on the opposite side, and come back. That's right, you'll see it in a second. And come back up to where we started. So they kind of run parallel to one another. If you think about it, it's like a U and it's coming up like this. Okay? So if you want to take a picture of that and move around the other side. All right, cool. So since we went this way, now we've got to go ahead and do one in the opposite direction. So I'll do that one there and come back. And if you look at it, they crisscross down here behind the Achilles. They crisscross underneath the heel right there. And then if we look back at the top right here, they all kind of crisscross up here too. So remember, we're starting one going this direction, and then we're doing one just the opposite direction. So those are strips of tape. Those are number 10 and number 11. So we'll say number 10 and number 11. So we're up to 11 strips of tape. Heck, since I'm now starting to get a little creative, I'll go ahead and do another colored strip of tape. We're going to use this orange one, and we're going to go ahead and do a figure 8. So figure 8 right here, I start on the medial side, on the inside of the foot. I'm going to go underneath the foot there, come back around to the top, you'll see here. So I've created half of my figure 8. Got it? Half of my figure 8. The other half needs to be this way. So the tape is actually going in the right direction, so I just bring it around and bring it back to where I started. So stop and start. So that becomes strip number 12. Now all I need to do is close up the tape job. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and close with this colored tape again, this one. I put one closing strip into the arch here. This is actually, really it's the same type of strip of tape that we did in the very beginning when we did our third anchor. Okay, so now we're up to how many strips of tape? This is number 13. So how we're teaching this in class, this is where everything remains the same, up to number 13. From here on, when we close this way, and again, this is a closing strip now, when we close here, there will be some variance depending upon how long the individual's leg is. So these closing strips here, and we'll find out what we get here now, we look for this figure 8 strip, and then we overlap that one with the first closing strip. And if you notice, that one kind of goes straight across. So that one becomes number, in this case, for this athlete, 14. And then every one after that, I'm going to slightly kind of upwards angle. So that's 15. Overlap, 16. I bet you we'll go to, 16. We'll go to 18 now, so 16. And then 17. And because, see, like I still have loose tape here, I want to go ahead and make that look nice and neat at the end. So I'm going to do that last closing strip and close all this stuff up, make it look kind of nice and neat. And that'll be my last one, 18. Okay? All right. So again, if we remember, class, when we're doing this, roughly again, when we get to that number 13 strip tape, that's all the same. How are you going to be taught? But when we look at the overall procedure of the tape job, remember, first thing is tape selection. After that, it's going to be the body position. And although, again, I would say a written rule would be if the athlete was clean shaven, but if not, that's not that big of a deal. All right, so then after that, then we're going to go ahead and just start our procedure of spray our tough skin, then we're going to apply our heel and lace pads, we're going to do our pre-wrap, and then we're going to go ahead and do our tape job. And the tape job consists of anchors, and then stirrups and spurs, heel locks, a figure 8, and then closing strips. All right? Now, the last thing is, last but not least, is I'm teaching everybody class-wise, is check your circulation on the athlete. So the simplest thing is just do what's called a Blanche test, squeeze the toes or squeeze the big toe, and we want to look for blood return, okay? So generally speaking, if it takes longer than 3 seconds for the blood to return, it might be on a little snug. So, you do that, you just squeeze to go 1001, 1002, 1003. That looks fine to me. We're good to go. Call it a day, and we're done.